Hey guys, I'm very sorry. My camera just stopped recording for some reason. I'm not sure why, but we'll continue. Right, I know he's got some heavy folds over here. Some very heavy folds actually. And let's just get in more and more of them. Because it's always good to make it look like it has a lot of detail into it. And I am going to draw his jawline over here. And something like a skin flap over there. But I was not really satisfied with the small one, so I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. And erase this line a little bit more, just like that, and make a jawline like that. Looks a little bit better. Alright, let's get back to the detail. So now we are at the part where we can put in some shadow, so that's what I'm going to do. Well, actually, let me start with drawing the rib cage. So this is the center of his chest. So we want to put in as much ribs as we can, like that, and over here they're going to be a lot smaller, a lot larger, a lot longer. Like that. So later on you will see that it's going to be looking quite cool when you darken these lines. And I'm putting in a little six-pack. Not sure if dinosaurs had six-packs, but let's assume this one did. Alright. And his back is going to be a little bit more like this. And I'm just going to put in more and more shadow and detail into it. Alright, so where would the shadow be? If, for example, the sun is right about over here, and it's shining down almost like on top of him, then it would mean that there would be a little bit more shadow over here. So that's what I'm going to draw, and there would be shadow over here. I already had this shadow drawn in, so that's pretty good. And let's assume that it had stripes or something. We can just put in some stripes over here, give it some stripes, and make the part of his, the inside of his mouth a little bit darker. Make this part a little bit darker, just a tiny little bit, not too much. Let's see. I think there would be a little shadow over here and over here. Also a lot of shadow over here. Just like as if it was a horn or something. I'm not sure what it was, but let's move his eye a little bit more to the front. Just a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more up. No. Yeah, let's do it like that. It's not very accurate compared to what it is supposed to be on the reference photo. I'm going to remove this, and I want to adjust this line a little bit. More like that. I just adjusted it a little bit, not too much. Alright. And yeah, so let's put in the more darker spots. I mean, the places where there would have been a lot of shadow and stuff, and just creating some random folds here and there. But those are not going to be as much detail as dark as these one, because I want the important lines to be clearly visible and the less important lines to be less visible. So yeah. Alright, let's see, where would be the shadow? I think it would be a little shadow over here. And a little shadow over here. And recently I watched a video from Danny the Dinosaur Drawer, and he also noticed, just like I noticed it, that well, there used to be a feature in the YouTube editor thing where you can glue videos together. So when your camera, like what just happened, when your camera does something like it stopped recording for some reason, then you can just go to the YouTube editor and glue the videos together, so you can still get one part out of it. But for some reason they removed the YouTube editor. Well, they removed the feature to glue videos together. I'm not sure why they did it, but they must have their reasons. But it's actually very annoying, because like right now I can't glue this video to the other one. So this drawing is actually about finished almost. The only thing that I need to do is put a little bit more detail into it, just like those stripes, a little bit more shadow, and then it's finished. But now I'm thinking about taking a little bit more time, like maybe 15 minutes for this video, to give it a little bit more detail and stuff, because otherwise it would be a very long video, which is, I'm not sure, 30 minutes or so, and the second part would be a very short video that is for about 10 minutes. So yeah, when I'm not really paying that much attention to my drawing, that's when I start to drift off, and the progress will be a little bit slower. So I'm just going to try to pay a little bit more attention to the drawing right now. So right, I'm going to make the top a little bit darker. Just give it some spots and some stripes. It will add on. It will make the drawing seem a little bit more detailed in the end. Alright, so now make this line a little bit darker. these lines a little darker, and do the same on this side. Make sure those lines do connect with each other. And you could actually put a little bit fur onto his chest if you really want to. Like what I'm doing right now. Just putting in some random fur. It might actually give it a very good look. Yeah. On his armpits, it's going to be a little bit more shadow and stuff. Yeah, let's add a little bit of fur to the bottom of his little arms instead of just rendering. I mean, instead of just doing a little shadow over there, those spots. If you really want detail, you can also use like scales on the darker parts of the body of your dinosaur, so it makes it look like the whole body is covered with scales, but actually only the parts that are very dark will be covered in scales. Yeah, but make sure you don't overdo it. Don't put in too much so it looks odd. And by the way, it's not actually fur. It is supposed to be like tiny feathers and stuff. Very, very tiny feathers. I'm just going over it and refining everything time after time. Yeah, I kind of messed up this arm because I think that I could have better done it like going this way and then going up instead of just a tiny curve over here, and it looks a little bit off, but I don't think there are going to be too much people paying that much attention to that part, so. Because I'm going to make it a lot darker over here and stuff. And over here it will be a lot darker. And I know his wings are supposed to be a little bit more transparent, but it's kind of hard to draw something that is transparent without the right reference, so. Right, and when if I have enough shadow on that part, I can always go back and put in darker lines on the places where you are supposed to see those lines. Because when you go over it with too much shadow, sometimes what happens is that your lines that you previously drew are kind of fading away. So what you have to do then is just go over those lines again and just make them a little bit darker. So yeah, I'm just going over it and putting in some shadow and rendering. I'm even going to darken this a little bit more, just a tiny bit more pigment. Just a little bit more. I'm going over it later again, so a little bit shadow over there. And this part you can even draw in some skills, but I already did some furry feathers, so I can't really do that. But you could, if you don't want to do the fur, you can always do like tiny little scales and stuff. I mean, you don't have to play by the books when you're drawing something. Just make it your own creation. I'm just drawing in line after line. Don't make it too messy, actually. But I don't really have such a good camera to record. I'm just using the camera of my my mobile phone. So in real life, the drawing looks a lot better than it looks on the camera. So that's actually kind of a shame, I think. It really is a shame. Because the camera doesn't really depict the dark kind of lines from the drawing. Well, I mean, it does depict darker lines, but the difference between white and black, dark and white, is a little bit different. It's a little bit less noticeable on my camera. And this wing is actually very, very dark, so just going to draw a little shadow over here and go over the lines again when I'm finished. So yeah, there's going to be a little bit more shadow over there and over there. And the further you go down, the more shadow you will have. The further you go up, the lighter it will get. Alright, so we've got that part very dark right now, which means that we have to put in a little bit more shadow on some parts of the drawing. Just going over every line again and again. In that way I get a little bit more, it gets a little bit darker. I'm really not happy about how this wing turned out, how his arm is just kind of, it looks like it's broken, but it's okay. It is almost exactly like the reference though, but sometimes when you draw something, it just won't look very well. If you draw something just like the reference, sometimes it turns out to be looking kind of unnatural. Well, it looks natural on the reference picture, but it just sometimes does. I'm not sure what it is, but it's probably just me. not drawing it in the right way, but yeah, I'm not a perfect drawer. I'm just drawing for a hobby, and I kind of like it to upload a video once in a while to show you guys how to draw something. So yeah, I'm just going to darken in the lower lines. So it kind of looks like a six-pack. There's his tail going that way, and I should draw in a little bit darker. His leg should be a little bit darker too. And over here too, just a little bit more shadow. Yeah, and I'm just going to darken in those ridiculous toes. I just want it to look like something like a bat or something, not sure. And a little bit more shadow over there. So I'm going to make this line a little bit darker, and a little bit of that, and this line as well. And I'm going to erase a little bit of that because it's a little bit too dark on camera. Yeah. Alright, and then put in a little bit darker lines over there. And again, it might look a little bit darker on camera, those lines, but in real life it looks a lot better. It doesn't look that exaggerated. Alright, so yeah, there you have it. That's the Jurassic World 2, the Jurassic Park 2 pterodactyl. So if you liked the video, please leave a like, and tell me in the comments below what you think about this drawing. I really appreciate it if you guys leave a comment. And if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video, where I'm going to draw, where I'm going to explain to you guys how to draw all this. So this was Dinosaur Drawer, and see you next time. Goodbye.